Hey guys, it's Puckett, and today I am talking with the X Games gold medalist, the 2015 world champion. It's none other than Clayster. Clay, you're playing for FaZe these days, and you're about to enter the biggest tournament of the year, the biggest tournament in Call of Duty history. Tell me, what are your thoughts? What are the team's thoughts going into this event?
Going into this Champs, it's a little different than most years have been. Most years, Champs has been at the beginning of the year, about 3 or 4 months into the game, so there's always all this preparation put into place that is then carried over into other events. With Champs being at the end of the year for the first time this year, it allows everyone to see an actual representation of who the best teams in the game are after the game's life cycle has run its course. So going into Champs, we're all just preparing as much as possible. We've been playing 6 to 8 hours a day, going over film, watching VODs, practicing scrims, stuff like that. And I think we're probably going into this event the most prepared we've been for any event in Black Ops 3.
You've always been a guy to look at the brackets ahead of time and kind of think of how the tournament might play out. What are your expectations coming in, and what are the goals of the FaZe clan for this tournament?
Obviously, the goals going into COD Champs is to win it. We've been having poor performances all year, so we're really trying to make this one our one for the year, and what a one to make it. I'm looking at the bracket and the pool plays and stuff now, and normally I'm one to say, like, hey, look at this bracket, we need to get first, or we need to get second, or whatever we need to do to get the bracket that we want. But as of right now, we're just really focusing on Elevate in pool play. We have a pretty tough pool with Elevate, Most Wanted, and Giants, the Spanish team. So it's definitely not an easier pool, and we're just focused on making sure we can get through Elevate. Elevate's been kind of a thorn in our side all year, and we looked at the bracket and realized that if we were to come first in our pool, and everything else goes according to how I predict it will, we'll be on the opposite side of the winner bracket as Optic. So that'll put up a good rematch if we both make it to the winners finals. And I think we're in a little more favorable bracket for us if we do get first in our pool. So right now our goal is set on getting first in our pool just so we can get the bracket that we want. And once we achieve that, I think if we're going to get first in our pool, then we're going to go all the way to the grand finals.
Who are some of the squads that you'd like to avoid early in the tournament, and are there any teams that you're looking forward to playing in the biggest event of the year?
So there's no teams I'm really not wanting to play. I think at Orlando we proved that we can hang with the best of them. We beat LG and we beat Rise at Orlando, which is two teams that we've been having a lot of trouble with, especially Rise. Rise has been also a thorn in our side all year long. They've been making sure that they sweep us pretty much every time or almost come back on us and stuff like that. So to beat Rise and LG at Orlando, it did a lot for our confidence. We did lose to Elevate and Envy still, but I think we played Envy really well. I ended up having a poor showing in an elimination map, and that's a once-in-a-lifetime thing for me. I think if I play a little better, we force a game 5, and I think we're a little better off in Search. So there's no team I'm really not wanting to play. I do want to play some teams. I do want to play Optic. I do want to play Envy again. These are the teams that I think that will kind of fold under this pressure. They have a lot of pressure going into this event where they're, not the underdogs. They're predicted to win it, and they're predicted to be 1, 2, 3, whatever it is. And I think having all of these people predicting you to win and you being the fan favorite puts so much extra pressure on you to perform and to play well. And anytime you start going down, this creeps in your head, oh, wow, I'm going to be getting roasted on Twitter or being roasted on Reddit. Whereas for us, we're kind of coming in as the underdogs. Everybody all year long has been like, oh, FaZe can't figure it out. FaZe can't put it together. And then now we're finally putting it together and everyone's counting us out. And I think we're in prime position to upset some of these teams that everyone thinks are going to win the tournament.
You're considered by everyone to be one of the top players of all time in Call of Duty. Why have you been able to stay at the top level for so long?
I'm not real sure why I've been able to stay at the top so long when some of these other players have kind of fallen off and retired and did make it to champs or whatever the case may be. And I think what really keeps me at the top is my motivation, my drive. I grew up with 2 older brothers. I'm in a family of 5 siblings, and it was always competition when we were growing up. We were always playing video games against each other. We were always competing, and whatever we did, we competed to get better grades than each other. I mean, it was one of those things where I've been instilled this competitive nature from day one. So playing Call of Duty and winning tournaments and beating other teams, beating the best in the world, being the best in the world, it's one of those things that I just love. I love to do it. I love to compete, and I love to get better at the game, and I love to show people that they're wrong and show my fans that they're right in supporting me. And it's one of those things where it's my passion for the game that I think truly keeps me at the top, because I never allow myself to slip. As soon as I start to slip a little bit, I start grinding the game even harder, start watching VODs even more, start watching theater way more, start watching streams way more. As soon as I feel myself slip even a little bit, I make sure I put in the time and effort to make sure I get everything correct and all the rotations and spawns correct.
So, Clay, obviously a lot of people in the community look up to you. What advice would you give to young players who want to become a pro player like you?
Becoming a professional gamer is one of those things that there's no true tested method to do. I can't tell you, hey, go to this college and get an esports degree and then you'll be a pro in Call of Duty next year. It's one of those things that I kind of lucked into. But if I was to give advice to someone, it is that every day you have to get on and play 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, every single day. And then if you don't have time to play, at least spend a couple hours watching streams and watching your theater and stuff like that. It's one of those things where you have to be so motivated to do it. You have to put in so much time and effort before you make it even close to becoming a pro. And once you put in all that time and effort, and once you get good enough to compete, then you start playing on wagers and tournaments and stuff like that. And once you go to these tournaments and you do really well at a tournament or in an online tournament, people will start to notice you. And everyone says, oh, like pros don't give amateurs shots anymore. And that's not true. If an amateur has shown that he can compete with the best, then he's going to get picked up on a team. We've seen that every year. 5 to 10 amateurs come up into the pro scene. It's one of those things where if you want it hard enough and you play enough and you're motivated enough and you're critical about yourself and about your gameplay, that's a key. You have to be able to look and self-criticize yourself. And if you're able to do all those things and you do it for a year or two, then you start getting a lot better. And then after 3 or 4 years, you start playing in tournaments. Then 5th year, you're going to start getting on teams. And I honestly think a lot of amateurs and random people who just want to be a pro gamer think that they can pick it up and be on a pro team in a year. It's one of those things where I worked at it for 3 years before I was even like mentioned on the pro scene, before pros would even give me a shot. So it's one of those things you have to put in a lot of time, many years doing it. And if you can do all those things that I said, then you do have a shot at making it.
Excellent, Clay. Thanks so much for your time today, buddy.
Take it easy, bud. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.